Bengaluru's commuters are bracing themselves for another blow. Starting 2026 in February, Namma Metro fares will rise by up to 5% every year. The Bengaluru Metro Rail Corporation has accepted the binding recommendations of the Fare Fixation Committee, the first such panel in the history of Metro. The formula is very clear. Fares will climb automatically, capped at 5% annually until the next committee is formed, which could be, who knows, maybe a decade away. The first hike under the formula will come just a year after the steepest increase Bengaluru has ever seen. In February of 2025, fares jumped by as much as 71%, making Namma Metro the costliest in the country. The minimum ticket doubled to 21 rupees while the maximum was 123 rupees. BMRCL insists the hikes are necessary. Without them, it says the metro will sink deeper into losses with repayments on massive loans already eating into revenues. By 2030, officials warn the shortfall could cross 577 crores. But the numbers really don't capture the anger of the daily riders, daily commuters. For them, the metro is not a luxury, but a necessity. The only reliable way to navigate a city where roads are plagued with potholes, traffic snarls are endless, and bike taxis remain stuck in legal limbo. With no affordable, safe or regulated alternatives, Namma Metro has become Bengaluru's lifeline, and yet that lifeline will now squeeze pockets year after year. This is a city which is already reeling under poor urban planning and mobility chaos. Commuters see the hikes as less of a financial adjustment and more of a penalty for simply trying to move around the city. Joining us is Nagesh Aras, who's the author of Citizen Matters, Bengaluru, and Satya Arikutharam, mobility expert from Bengaluru. A very, very warm welcome to both of you. Satya, if I could come to you, sir. First, do you think this annual rise, as it were, raise, as it were, considering that they are not able to meet the revenues, is such a great idea? Because the last time that I heard, in February, there was a near mini revolution in Bengaluru with people saying, what should we do? Should we sell our property to get on to this because I can't afford a car, because the cars don't, run on these pothole roads? Should I get to work or should I just sit at home unemployed? So Satya sir, do you think this is a great idea at all, the 5% hike every year?
It isn't. That's the simple answer. And it isn't because the fare hike of 71%, in my view, actually captures future 5 years worth of increase already. You have to remember the 71% increase, which currently is the average which is being imposed on Bengaluru citizens, is actually 35% higher than what the FFC report itself states.
Sure.
If you read through the Fare Fixation Committee report, which thankfully, alas, at last they released it yesterday, God knows why they had to keep it as a secret document, it clearly shows its own O&M cost base, the operation and maintenance cost base since 2017, route cost per kilometer actually has risen only by 40%. So if your cost base has risen by 40%, the problem for Metro, as you rightly said earlier, was they're not able to service their loans. They have to pay the bills of contractors, but they've not been able to get coaches on time and get new revenues from Yellow Line and Pink Line quick enough. Because of this, and this is compounded by the fact that the state government has unfortunately taken a private dependency policy, wherein they are basically shunning Metro to say, hey, it's all for yourself. Till now, they have got an MOU with the central government as part of the BMRCL shareholders agreement, wherein any cash shortfalls will be met by the state government. Now they are refusing to do so. So that's a double whammy, and that's the reason why citizens are now not only paying 35% extra, and if you add another 5%, that's a double whammy. I don't think that 5% is acceptable at all.
Nagesh Aras, let me bring you in here. Nagesh Aras, is it that they created a white elephant and then are meandering and navigating through how to kind of appease its hunger? Did they even do a supply-demand basic kind of legwork before they do something? Look, Bengaluru looks very prosperous to us people sitting outside thinking, not to me, but to a lot of other people that, oh, they're IT city, it's a Silicon Valley of India, etc., etc. But I'm asking you, isn't the truth very far away from reality? Because if you create a white elephant, where will the revenue come from if you have not done basic homework on it, Nagesh?
Absolutely. This actually, when the phase 2A, 2B were proposed, actually, I had pointed out this particular fact. And see, basically in the design phase itself, their basic assumption is that wherever the metro line is passing, there is a 500 meters on both sides. It is supposed to have high rises. Now in Bangalore, you tell me how many areas satisfy that kind of criteria. High rises means they assume that everybody is going to walk to the metro station and they are going to take metro, and they are assuming that the complete trip to the place of work or place of study or whatever it is, the entire trip is going to pass through metro. And the moment they take off, get off the metro station after transit and all that, they will be able to reach their destination by walking again. Now, how good is that that assumption? That's a poor planning actually to begin with. An assumption of high density population which is dependent on metro itself is a completely daydreaming actually, because most of the metro lines are passing through urban sprawl, which is not high rise at all, so you
Okay.
don't get that ridership at all. So this is the problem actually, basic problem.
So basic, very bad planning. And then to say I'm projecting this revenue and this pipeline which will happen is basically a chicken and an egg story and completely chaotic. Satya sir, I want to ask you something. A lot of people and politicians, this is politics, where they'll say, oh, Fare Fixation Committee is from the union government. What can we do? But I think the onus is also on the state government, because these metros are running in Bengaluru. They are not running in Japan. So we have to be very, very cognizant of the fact. The point of the matter is, whenever there is a fare hike, this question comes up, the government of the day will say, oh, look at Delhi, they are the ones who are doing it. I mean, I just think that people who are involved in this, I don't want to sit on judgment on how, I'm sure they are very competent. But there seems to be a very myopic view of the entire thing. What is this 5% hike, automatic hike? I mean, this is not a rental of a home, right? That every year, if you live in my house, 10% hike, you have to pay more rent. What does this mean even?
Correct. I mean, you raise a very important issue. First of all, you have to think, why do you require FFC at all? It's the old bureaucratic way of looking at things. It's all red tapeism. Getting a retired judge and a retired bureaucrat, go on a jolly jaunt to Hong Kong on the MRT and come back and basically say 5% randomly. That's not the way for modern businesses and modern metro organizations to be run. And like Nagesh earlier said, the TOD policy is there for BMRCL to adopt. They've got Majestic, which is a great station. They've got MG Road, which is a great station. Every station, if they're developed as per TOD policy, they could monetize it very well and also lock in ridership. This is not rocket science. Hong Kong has done it, Singapore has done it, Tokyo has done it. Everybody does it. London does it. London has got non-fare box revenue more than their underground fare revenues. So it's not a white elephant per se. It's run by white elephants. That much I can say. So we have got people who are completely unaccountable for performance. Say, for instance, the 5%, it doesn't even have productivity targets. Okay, you finish blue line by that time, you finish yellow line by that time, only then this fare increase will be applicable. Or you say, you bring in so many coaches so that load factors are habitable. We do not want to become another Mumbai suburban rail wherein we are jam-packed. Go and try to see the yellow line today. It's like sardines, just 2 trains per hour. That's not the way to run a modern metro.
But
so
then they say it's a big success. That's what they're saying. It's a big success, Satya.
It is a success, but not in terms of quality of service currently offered with just 2
but they
trains
say
per
they
hour.
will introduce.
That actually shows the latent. Exactly. That shows the latent demand. They have to introduce. They had to introduce it yesterday, not tomorrow.
All right.
They had to introduce it 3 years ago.
All
So
right.
essentially, my limited point here is we want the FFC way of looking at fares itself is wrong.
Right.
And I think we need to adopt modern practices wherein BMRCL itself as an institution takes responsibility for outcomes.
All right.
That's important.
Okay, Nagesh, I'll give you the last word, Nagesh. The thing is that, why is it that the commuters are responsible? I am held responsible for the losses that BMRCL makes. I'm not responsible for it. You give more trains, you make connectivity better, you see to it that, you kind of look at the charts every day and see that where are the gluts, etc., etc. Do you think there is complete lack of imagination on people who run these metros in Bengaluru?
It's not the imagination. It's the total avoidance and total violation of the basics. Say, for example, we just covered what is the speed, what is the delay in the whole project. Now there is something called project, velocity, which, span by span, it has to be monitored. Project cannot be delayed in this kind of project. Otherwise, this will hit the commuters hard. And by the way, this is a company which is privately, owned by the government. Now somebody has to pay the losses, right? Pay for the losses. Either it will come out of the users, daily fares, or it will have to come out by the taxpayers' money. Now we have to choose. Either the non-user pays the money or the user pays the money. So somewhere somebody has to make up for the losses, and the losses are caused by the complete, the breakdown in governance.
All right.
The engineers have not done their job.
All right. So it is basically, it is so unfortunate that for the breakdown of imagination, of getting the stakeholders on board, bureaucrats running it and some engineers running it, the man in Bengaluru or the woman in Bengaluru has to every year in their annual budget also add 5% increase will happen, whether their salaries increase or not.
No, the 5% increase is just keeping up with the inflation. But the basic fact is that it is a white elephant not able to make up for its loss because the ridership is not matching the demand.
Nagesh Aras, a lot of organizations are not even giving 5% raise. Let me tell you this. And it's, I've
but that accumulates. The losses, accumulated losses.
So the thing is that it's a bigger pinch on those, and it's a bigger pinch on those who anyway run a house keeping a very strict budget.